Yes, so Keir Starmer today will reiterate, Labour's plans for the future of energy security in the UK. It's talking about investment in renewables. It would leave the country less dependent on rogue foreign states and reduce household bills for consumers.
And it comes on a big day because the Labour leader is preparing right now to go head-to-head with Rishi Sunak in their first live TV debate of the campaign this evening. And we're joined on the sofa by the party's national campaign coordinator, Pat McFadden. Good morning to you.
Morning.
We'll talk about energy in a moment, but I guess energy levels for all of you personally are key at the moment. How does Sir Keir Starmer prepare for this big debate tonight?
He's looking forward to it. This is a big moment in the election. He's going to take his case for change for the country directly to millions of people on TV tonight. These debates are big moments. And so I think this is a key point in the campaign, and really the question he'll focus on in the debate is, do people want 5 more years of what they've had for the past 14, or is it time for a change? I think that'll be at the heart of the back and forth this evening. What's
the level of nervousness? Because the stakes are high. Some might say the stakes are actually higher for your leader, because when you look at the front pages this morning, it's talking about this YouGov poll. If that is to be believed, you're due to do very well on the 4th of July. But something like this, it's really for Sir Keir Starmer to lose, isn't it?
We push all this aside because nobody's voted. Not a single vote's been cast in this election. No seats have been won or lost. So it's really important when fighting an election to ignore some of the external noise in the polls, because you're appealing for people's trust. You're asking for people to place their trust and confidence in you. And in a democracy, that's an awesome thing to do. So we're conscious of the responsibility. We're confident in our position. We go into this debate and this campaign with a lot of belief, but the idea of assuming anything about the result is not something you'll hear from Sir Keir Starmer or from me or anyone involved in the Labour campaign.
We know how tense even Prime Minister's questions can be in the chamber when you've only got MPs among you. Knowing tonight, Sir Keir Starmer, that he's got potentially millions of people watching. I mean, what are the little things that he's doing right now? What does his day look like as he prepares? Is he getting coached?
Well, he's preparing. He's preparing, of course. He's going through possible subjects that will come up. But we know our positions on things. It's not a matter of starting from nowhere. You're just topping up. You're getting prepared.
But do you like a sort of role play type thing? Do you play Rishi Sunak?
I don't play Rishi Sunak.
Who does?
I don't want to give too much secrets away of how we prepare, but we take this seriously because it should be taken seriously. And it's a big moment in the campaign and one that we're looking forward to.
But you never know what question you're going to get, do you? It's always those left field questions, the ones about, I don't know, the Euros, for example. Those are the things that potentially are likely to trip up, and you can't necessarily prepare for those.
I don't think he'll be tripped up on a question about football. He's a proper football fan. But you're right, there can be something comes up that you don't expect, and it's a good point, because no matter how much you prepare, there are things in the moment when you just have to react.
Let's talk about your policy that you're announcing today, new energy policy, which you say could help families save up to £300 on their average annual bill by the end of this decade. How sure are you on those numbers? Because some economists are looking at it and thinking this is unachievable, not realistic.
Well, at the heart of it is the point that renewable energy is now actually cheaper than oil and gas. And one of the tasks of any government is to prepare the country for the future. And one of the things we'd say in this election is that the Conservatives haven't prepared the country for the future. And energy is a pretty good example of that, because when Russia invaded Ukraine and we had that enormous price spike, we were too reliant on international oil and gas markets. So we've got to invest now, because if we had another spike like that, we'd be just as vulnerable today as we were 2 years ago. So this is a down payment on more energy security in the future, lower bills in the long term because renewable energy is cheaper, and insulating ourselves from being manipulated by dictators like Putin or other people who control the lion's share of the oil and gas in the world. It's not something that will happen overnight, but year on year, this is an investment the country has to do. as Sir Patrick Vallance said the other day, if we don't do this, other countries will end up doing it, and we'll just end up buying the solutions from them.
You will be aware that SNP, for example, have talked about your plan potentially putting jobs at risk in Scotland. How do you answer that question?
We're going to need oil and gas for many years to come. The North Sea is a mature basin. It's unlikely to have huge new fields in the future, but we will need oil and gas for many years to come. This is a transition. It's not a full stop, so it's something that we have to do year on year. And in investing in it, we can actually create new jobs in energy that will be with us for many years to come.
If you're watching this morning, think if you were really serious about this, if you really wanted to protect our energy security for the future, you'd have stuck with your £28 billion energy plan, which you've ditched because you say the country can't afford it. And there's a lot of people during this election more generally saying, you're just not being bold enough, you're not being exciting enough. You know, where are the big ideas?
Well, I think this is a big idea, but in terms of costs and money, we of course, with this policy and any other, have to start from the economic situation that whoever wins on the 4th of July is going to inherit. And people will also know what happened to the economy a couple of years ago. They'll know how much that cost. They're still paying the price for that in their mortgage payments, or if you're renting, in your landlord's mortgage payment, which has gone up. So people know that whoever wins on the 4th of July will inherit a difficult economic inheritance, and we're going to have to build from there. And it's right and responsible to be honest with the British people about that, because restoring economic stability is the foundation for this green energy policy and for everything else that we'll do.
People looking at the front pages this morning will see many pictures of Nigel Farage. How does he change the dynamic as far as the following 4 weeks? I
don't think he changes it from our point of view. It's a democracy. He's entitled to stand. Anyone's entitled to stand and put their case in this election. We will just keep focusing on the public, keep making the case for change. In the end, there's only two possible governments after July the 4th. It's either going to be 5 more years of the Conservatives or change with Labour. That's the point we'll be making, whoever stands in this election.
A little smile just crossed your face when his name was mentioned about how he might change things.
Well, it's up to the voters, not up to me.
OK. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for coming in. Thank you.